See a bard in the corner. Hi everyone. Today I wanted to go through some of the spells that have been giving me the most grief as a DM. Now this isn't to say that they are broken or anything like that. It's just the way I've set up my campaign and everything. These things are becoming the most difficult for me to negotiate around or counter. This mainly will be because I don't have a lot of spellcasters as a response in my campaigns. Or in my campaign at the moment. I need to introduce that a little bit more. So we're just going to dive back to the spells at the back. Now, spells that come to mind are Detect Good and Evil. So we'll go there first. I have a lot of infernal, fae, and other various creatures that detect good and evil. Sort of vulnerable to. So I'm going to fix that in the future by sort of working out how that was going to change. So, let's go to that. So I hope everyone's doing good today. I've had to deal with a few spiders today. I've also been trying to clean up my area because I've sort of over the last month I've accumulated a lot of stuff since starting this, and it's not necessarily organised in a good way. So, gotta have this a little bit set up. So I don't really know how these sort of I do, but the bigger YouTube ASMR people that have all different sets and stuff, don't know how you keep it organised and stuff. I'm just using this desk. Even then, it's still pretty crazy. But yeah, so here we go. Where are we? Dominate Master. I went past it. Disintegrate. Was not concentrating. Detect Evil and Good. Okay, so Detect Evil and Good has unraveled a lot of my plans to trick and get people on the back foot. Yeah, it's a bit rough. And I'm a little bit probably not as lawyery or raw when it comes to spells like this, where and I'll sort of explain why in a second. So Detect Evil and Good. First level divination, 1 action, range on self. Duration, concentration up to 10 minutes. For the duration, you know if there is an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. Similarly, you know it if there is a place or object within 30 feet of you that has been magically consecrated or desecrated. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. So, where I am a little bit more liberal with this is basically if anything's within 100 feet, I go, yeah, there's evil in the space and stuff. I don't necessarily look at the material barriers that can counter it, which I need to start doing. And also the 30 feet rule definitely needs to be looked at. That stuff. Definitely need to look at the 30 feet rule as well. So, it's first level, so it's easily accessible by most holy characters. My cleric uses it a lot and it's unstuck a lot of things. So I had 2 doppelgangers, which are fey. join a party and they were feeling a bit weird because doppelgangers have a mental probe effect, and as soon as that happened, perception picked it up, and then Ted Good and Evil, these two people were bad, and that they were immediately destroyed. So that's one. Another one is Black Tentacle that my wizard uses. Where is Black Tentacle? Let me just go back to the wizard spells to have a look. Because I might be using the wrong word. There we go. Avert's Black Tentacles. Yes, so this one has been an issue because it deals so much damage, and I'll explain that in a moment. It's 4th level spell, ABC. Everard's Black Tentacles. 4th level Conjuration. So my Conjuration wizard uses this every chance they get, and then immediately go to hide, and I'm really stealthy, so they've been doing really well so far with that, so I'm not really able to sort of get to them and stop the concentration of this. So the concentration of 1 minute. So components: you need a piece of tentacle from a giant octopus or a giant squid. Squirming ebony tentacles fill a 20-foot square on the ground that you can see within range. Sorry. For the duration, these tentacles turn the ground into an area into difficult terrain. When a creature enters the affected area the first time it starts its turn, the creature must succeed a dexterity saving throw or take 3d6 bludgeoning damage and be restrained by the tentacles until the spell ends. A creature that starts its turn in the area is already restrained by the tentacles takes 3d6 bludgeoning damage. A creature restrained by the tentacles can use an action to make a strength or dexterity check, its choice, against your spell save. On a success, it frees itself. Cool, so when we were going through this battle previously, that wasn't necessarily identified clearly to me that it was strength or dexterity, because of these monsters that were stuck in here. I'm talking like a Warforged Titan would have been easily able to break out of that. So that's a little frustrating, but you know, what can you do? So this one is basically, so it's thrown up a lot of the time, and it restrains me and stuff, so like that. Now that I've read that, I have a little bit more action against it, so haha. But basically I need to disrupt concentration, and that's going to be more your lair actions. It's going to be more battle and stuff, and less places for the hide. I'll be a little bit more stringent with the hiding of this character and stuff. Also, legendary resistances also would definitely help with that, so I can just put those in potentially as well. But yeah, so that one's been a bit of a difficult one to transverse a little bit, and especially because the way I set up my my encounters, I try to be as realistic as possible, where you know your monsters aren't going to be coming from or creatures aren't going to be like, oh, one over here, 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 and they're all going to sort of slowly come in. Most of the time they're a band that's sort of in the middle, and they're just going to come in as a group. So normally they're in a 20-foot grid or a 30-foot grid. So that brings me on to my next troublesome spell, which I'm sure you all know and love, is the Fireball. So the Fireball is just a big old devastating spell. Where are we? Firebolt, Fire Shield. Fireball. Range 150 feet, instantaneous. A bright streak flashes from your pointed finger to the point you choose within range, and then blossoms with a low roar into an explosion of flame. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on the point must make a dexterity saving throw or take 8d6 fire damage. On a failed save, or half as much on a successful one, the fire spreads through the corners and ignites flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried. At high levels, when you cast a fireball using spell slots 4th or higher, the damage increases by 1d6 each slot above 3rd. So, I've got the BBEG currently. He's a sorcerer. He uses fireball and is immune to fire. Specifically because my characters use fireball a lot. Whether from spell scrolls, from dungeon crawls, they have it in their repertoire already. And yeah, so they just have been throwing it. So again, as I group my encounters together, the fireball is extremely effective at massive range, the distance range. So and it deals a lot of damage. And this is the reason why I've sort of included more infernal and more fire resistant monsters like iron golems that actually get health back from fireballs. But, we go back to detect good and evil. Infernals are easily picked up by detect good and evil. So you can see sort of like the problems and the back and forth and stuff that you may have when you sort of set up these things. It's all in good fun. Like, I don't want to say I'm not angry or I'm not annoyed by any of this. I'm just saying, like, this is what the characters have access to. And, as a DM, I need to be able to retaliate in a way that's constructive, fun, and everything. So, for example, we're halfway through a BBEG fight at the moment, and I'm doing a whole bunch of fire attacks, and they're really struggling with it. Now, my response is, not so fun, is it? And they always seem to find that funny. Cool. Probably one more to go through would be Mage Hand. So my Arcane Trickster Rogue uses this a lot. Mage Hand. Mage Hand. A spectral floating hand appears at a point you choose within range. The hand lasts for a duration until they dismiss it as an action. The hand vanishes if it is ever more than 30 feet away from you, or is cast this spell again. You can use your action to control the hand. You can use your hand to manipulate an object, open an unlocked door or container, stow and retrieve an item from your open container. Or pour the contents out of a vial. You can move the hand up to 30 feet each time you use it, and the hand can't attack, activate magic items, or carry more than 10 pounds. So, with this, again, we're using it a little bit differently. Mage Hand essentially is an extension of the character, so I'm probably going to change this a little bit in the future because we're using sort of strength as the thing and everything like that. So this Mage Hand's been able to steal weapons from other monsters and stuff, like their major weapons, like a horned devil's pitchfork or something like that, because we use it as a strength. So basically we connect it to the hand of the user, so if they were to grasp onto something, they can pull it and then achieve and retrieve it and stuff. So I might actually change that to be, rather than strength or something, we might do Arcana to maintain that, just to sort of fix that up a little bit more, because it's been a bit of a thorn in my side, to say the least. But yeah, those are some of the spells that I found intriguing and difficult to manage or work around. And I mean, a lot of these times, like a lot of these things is, I haven't necessarily read the spell myself, or we've changed the rules behind the spell, or negated some of the rules. So, you know, each to their own. It's all about the shenanigans and the fun. So, I can't stress that enough. Make the rules, make the understanding across the entire table known as what is supposed to be, and follow that rule. If you want to do rules as written, follow rules as written, but make sure that everyone across the table and the DM knows what the intention and what the aspect is there. And also, take into consideration that the DM is doing a lot of things, so if you throw up a tricky spell to try and run some shenanigans, make sure you're clear and track the spell yourself, because, you know, the DM's trying to track everything else, so help them out as much as they're trying to help you out. Thank you, everyone. This has been Bardic Whispers. Enjoy your long rest. Get those spell slots back.